Hey guys, welcome to the Untold Story of Men, episode 2. I'm Daniel Bartlett and I'm a mindset coach.
And I'm Blake Minto, a professional boxer.
Yay! So we just had the long weekend here, the Australian Day long weekend. Mine was pretty chilled. It's just another day for me. It's also lands on my son's birthday, so he turned 12 and had our first sleepover. We had all his mates sleep over in the backyard and popped up the tent and had a mad little party, bro. It was the first one as a father to have his friends sleep over. What did you get up to?
I just went, me and my little family, we went away to Port Macquarie, to a place called Camp Jordan. It was awesome. They have kayaking, bikes, pools. So the kids were always doing something. So it was awesome. We got back Monday and it's been good. It was a good trip away.
Yeah, nice, bro. So the whole reason we started this podcast is to raise awareness around men's mental health and suicide prevention. And today we're going to go through the 5 things that men struggle with that leads to suicide. We're going to touch on all 5 of them, and we're going to give our experiences in those categories. So the first one, which is probably quite obvious, is mood disorders. So anxiety, depression. What we got here, we got PTSD, bipolar. So that leads to 34.9% of males that experience this will commit suicide, which is fucking massive. I think we touched on it last week that 9 people kill themselves every single day here in Australia, and 75% of that 9 are men.
Which is a horrible statistic.
Yeah, it's crazy. Men are 3 times more likely to kill themselves than women. And it keeps growing, which is a fucking massive problem.
Yeah.
I've had friends, commit suicide, and it's a gut-wrenching feeling that you could have been there to talk to, but for whatever reasons they chose that way out.
Exactly.
It's
hard to think about.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm sure if you're watching this, you probably know someone or know of someone that has gone down that road. Like my experience on depression, anxiety, I think we touched on it last week, like antidepressants, when I went through that family court, is when I really dove down into my darkest of days. Depression and anxiety, and leaning into being a mindset coach now, I really got to understand what depression and anxiety is. Now, depression is something that you're fearful or sad or hurt or guiltful of the past. Anxiety is usually fear of the future. So for me, I was scared of the future because I didn't know when am I going to get to see my son again. What's going to happen with me in relationships, all these different things. I'm going to be a good enough father. How am I going to be a part-time dad? All those different things. And then the depression kicked in as well, which was, how could I have done better? How could I have showed up more? Am I a shit father because I'm now got a broken home, and I know what it feels like to come from a broken home. So, and down that line as well, with the mood disorders, the way I coped with anxiety and depression, I think, is the way a lot of men cope, is through fucking alcohol abuse. That smashed me even more. Also, love the baggie, as you would say back in the day, and smoking weed. So with all those things, plus antidepressants, and at a young age, I wasn't very mentally stable, I guess you could say, man. Yeah. Have you had any experience of any of those things?
Yeah, absolutely. One stems around bipolar. I have manic bipolar, and as I touched on last week, the doctor said to me he thought I had depression, but it was from with bipolar, you're coming up and then you're coming down. Each day's a different day, sort of thing. And so on those massive depressive days, I thought, like, this isn't normal, what I was going through, and I was on antidepressants. And then went back and got, was told I think I had bipolar, and then got the proper medication, was taking the depression tablets away, given the bipolar medication. Okay. See if this works, And that's where it stems from for me. Like, and then and I'd party hard, like I said, and with bipolar, when I was doing those manic highs, which I would when I was partying, I didn't want to stop. And that was like a recipe of like, when the come down was on, it was just crash and burn, and it was just a recipe for disaster, really.
What does the crash of is it the crash of depression, or is it just a crash?
No,
of
it's just
energy.
a crash. I'd say it was a crash of energy for me.
Yeah.
So for example, I can remember vividly growing up as a teenager. Like there'd be days at high school where I was the class clown, funny, loud.
Yeah.
I was that guy, and then the other days I'd be like sit at the back of the class and just be quiet and silent and
Yeah.
just stare. And then that was normal to me
Yeah.
growing up. So that's what was normal. So
Yeah.
until I got found out of what it was and got some actual some study about it and realized what it was.
Yeah. And what were the manics then? Just full
Oh,
energy.
to full energy. Yeah,
Yeah, right.
literally. And I still get them from when I'm competing in boxing. I use it sort of as a superpower
I
now.
was going to say, wouldn't that be heaps helpful in
Yeah,
that
it does.
scenario?
Well, it helps when I get those later rounds, that's
Yeah.
for sure. So yeah, but it was just I'm on the rise. I'm laughing. I'm loud. I can't sit still.
Yeah.
I'm just moving back and forth and pacing. Sometimes I'll just pace.
Yeah,
And you
okay.
won't even know I'm pacing. You know how you
Yeah.
get in the phone, you start walking around.
I do that all the time when I'm on the phone. I'm just doing a
Yeah,
walk. Sometimes I'm doing circles in the backyard.
That's right. Well, that's exactly what it was like.
Oh shit. With the depression, what was depression like for you?
Um, that was more of like I guess feeling sorry for myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, just feeling sorry. I think sort of like having that victim mentality. Oh, like why is this happening
Yeah.
to me?
Yeah.
You know, yeah, I can't really explain, but it was just I just felt down and out.
Yeah.
And like and I was like, always asking, questioning it. Why am I feeling like this?
Yeah.
And then yeah,
Yeah. So it's a little bit like me as well. Depression for me was sleeping in for ages, constantly
yes,
being tired, watching, just binging TV in a dark room, not wanting
yeah,
to fucking socialize
exactly.
at all.
Isolation. Yeah.
Isolation, man. And that was usually stemmed because I was just feeling guilty or ashamed or depressed over just
Spot on.
going
Yeah.
somewhere else. And then the anxiety for me was just like, when you get butterflies, like if you're excited or something,
Yeah.
it was like that, but on the opposite end and times 10. So like I would just, get the shakes, or I would just like, fuck, man, I would like shake out, or I would just wouldn't be able to move, or I would just be able to fucking sit there and crawl up into a little corner.
Yeah.
That really freaked me out. And it was like when I did that 555, how I said I got that wave of anxiety. It's exactly what happened. It was like I went back into my old ways. I got hit with this. You're not good enough. You're going to be shit. You're going to fail in front of everyone. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh no.
That's right, yeah.
And I was like fucking crawling up. Going, fuck, can I do this? I
Straight
don't think
into
I
the
can do
shell.
this. Yeah, straight to the shell. Which is fucking crazy, man. And like PTSD, I haven't never experienced PTSD on a level I think that someone's gone through something traumatic. However, I have worked with people that have experienced some pretty crazy PTSD.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the reason I think that's a big deal, PTSD, is when you go through that traumatic experience, you relive it over and
Exactly.
over and over
Yeah.
again in your head. And what people don't understand is your subconscious mind can't tell what's real or what's not. So when you're reliving something in your mind, your subconscious mind believes you're going through
Doing
that
that same thing.
at that moment.
Yep.
So then your body's going to react to that, and the emotions that come with it are going to come to that. So even consciously, you're like, fuck, I'm shaking, I'm depressed, I'm freaking out, and you're in a real safe environment.
Yep.
Your subconscious mind and body doesn't know that. So
Yeah.
that's why they fucking really
Going
just
into
go into
fight or
that
flight.
spiral.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
fight and flight. So that is just massive. Now, what are some things that really helped you dealing with these things?
Yeah. So routine.
Nice.
Being
Yeah.
in a routine just in my everyday life. And I would say the medication for my bipolar has helped a lot. It
Yeah,
actually,
great.
yeah, it zonks me out sometimes, but realistically, it helps me just live like a normal day to day.
Yeah.
So I'm not having emotional highs or lows. So and that gives me like I said, routine, and then I'm not. A big thing for me is like spending all my pay when I was working, when I was having those manic highs, where now I'm just
Yeah.
like, no, come on, idiot, pull your head in, save some money. Yeah, so no, that were more or less the things with the bipolar. But yeah, so just living my life daily better than I was yesterday is what it's helping me with.
Well, routine builds discipline, and discipline builds self-worth.
Yeah.
So it's actually really good to have a routine that you can stick to on a daily basis.
That's it. Yeah, it's probably my most important thing is
Yeah.
the routine. Yeah.
it will build resilience as well.
Yeah.
So and men need that. I think men need routine. They need something to look forward to constantly.
Absolutely.
That's going to benefit them.
Exactly. And with routine comes purpose.
100%.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
every man needs purpose.
That's right.
For me, anxiety and depression, really, I started running again. And then I started doing breath work and I started doing meditation. I started
Beautiful.
feeling a lot better.
Yeah.
It was only when I went and did NLP did I really learn that I can control it on a heaps bigger scale. So breath work, ice cold showers or ice baths, meditation, all those things, exercise, they're all great tools for managing your anxiety and depression. However, I have found that they don't actually get to the root cause of what's coming up in that anxiety and depression.
Yeah.
So like I said before, depression is usually something that you're holding on to from the past, and anxiety is usually something you're worried about in the future. So for me, when NLP gave me the tools to dig down into the subconscious mind and find out what's really going on. And when I did that, it was, not being good enough. Okay, where did that stem from? Well, I used to be great at cross country. I used to be great at soccer or football, right? I didn't succeed in some areas of those when I was younger. And I remember doing cross country, I made it to state. So I'd always win at school. I'd always come first. I'd always win zone and I'd always win regional.
Yeah.
Every year, all the way up to year 10, every year. But I remember once I got to state. It was like the third time I got to state. And I remember lining up in the starting line in this huge wave again of anxiety,
Yeah.
and it felt like I'd been fucking probably uppercutted by you in the gut. It felt like I got shoved in the gut really, really hard. I think it was only like 13, 14, and then I remember pulling mum and dad to the side and said, I feel sick.
Yeah.
And I made up this story in my head that I was sick.
Yeah.
When really it was just anxiety. And when I dug deeper into that, it was, you're not good enough.
Yeah.
Who do you think you are running against these athletes at a state level?
Absolutely, I understand that fully because I've actually been there, and mine is through like I used to run. I was a really good sprinter when I was a young fella, and I made it to state as well. And I always remember getting these same feelings.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like my head would go into like a frenzy of like, why am I here?
Yeah.
Like, and then you run the race. Like I remember in state, I got smoked.
Yeah.
But it was only like 2 or 3 seconds, and that was the difference. But I can just remember, like after the race, I was fine. But it's before the race where you're battling up here.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I don't know if I can do this.
Yeah, it's like the demons, right? And that leads to another story. So when we released that first episode, I had someone reach out to me on Instagram saying, hey man, it's really great what you guys are doing. Love it, love the potty. I'm actually struggling with demons. I'm fighting demons every day. And what I learned about fighting demons, and this is what I explained to him, and I had to explain to him through voice note because I couldn't type it was just too much, was I learned not to fight the demons because the demons are a part of us. So therefore, what's the point of fighting a part of you?
Yeah.
So I explained to him that if the demons are a part of us, what if they're just communicating to us, they're not fighting us? And if you fight them, you're pushing away a part of yourself.
Yeah.
So I told him to, first of all, see what they're trying to communicate and then negotiate with them, right? So if the demons are telling you, oh, don't go to the fucking gym, just sit at home, you're a piece of shit, don't do that, you're this, you're that. Just negotiate them. Okay, what if we just drive in there and we just walk into the gym and then we leave?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because if you do that, the chances of you going into the gym and leaving are fucking slim to none.
That's right.
Because you're going to train if
Once
you're there.
you're there.
Yeah.
No, that's right. I understand.
Yeah. And how I figured that out was doing the running challenges. Like I explained last week, like doing those running challenges, the demons would come out early hours of the morning, 12 o'clock to go for a 5K run, 1 o'clock to go for a 5K run, like all those weird fucking times when I've just gotten to sleep, just stay in bed. You don't need to run. Who's going to know that you fucking don't run?
That's right.
Just stay in bed, stay in bed. So I just said, you know what, if you help me get up and get ready, maybe we can walk the first K.
Yeah.
Maybe we can do this.
That's right.
If you help me run this 5Ks, I'll come back and we'll have a mad feed and go back to sleep. I promise.
That's it. Yeah, that's right. No, that's it.
And then it fucking works,
that's
man.
right, yeah. That becomes a non-negotiable.
100%. And
No,
then
I get ya.
that voice just eventually just it
It
becomes really
disappears.
rare.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
And then
Yeah.
it's like you're no longer fighting with this part of you. You're just, it's like a friend that you kind of get along with every now and then.
Yeah, yeah.
Sometimes you need to set boundaries with
That's
this
it.
friend, but really deep down you love this friend.
Yeah.
And that's just, yeah, that's the best way I can understand it. So if you are fighting demons, don't fight them, negotiate with them, speak to them, and they'll become your friend, and that's where you will fucking truly grow and take
You
control.
will. That's right. Yeah. And eventually they'll go.
Yeah, 100%. And then when you grow, you get more demons.
That's right. The next test.
Yeah, there's a saying in the mental health space. It's new level, new devil,
Yeah.
and
Yes.
it's a
Yes.
fucking it's fact. But
That is.
each level you get to, you just learn to control it more and more and
Yeah.
more. Now, number two on the things that men struggle with, which leads to suicide, is I think's a fucking massive one, and
Yeah.
most men here could probably agree
I
is
think
relationship issues.
100%. Yeah. And I found out with my experience with relationship issues is when I have my kids are involved as well. I think that plays a massive factor. And
Yeah.
when you break down or lose a relationship, and that's when those scary depressive thoughts creep in. What if I am not good enough for my family, or what if I can't do this, or get the rent paid on time, and just stuff like that you break down in common day life.
Yeah.
I think that's a scary thing for
100%.
most people who break down
Yeah,
relationships.
I agree, man. And what was some of your biggest takeaways from the relationships you've had in the past? Biggest learnings?
Biggest learnings I would say is, like I think I touched on it last week, was communication.
Yeah.
There was there was not a lot of communicating towards the end of a lot of them really, and just becoming sort of just toxic on both ends. My end as well. I'm no angel, so yeah, it was just more or less communication and I guess listening to each other of what we had to say, and not letting anger or pride get in the way of one another. Yeah.
I think that's massive, especially in like arguments. We've all said things that we didn't mean,
Yeah.
or we come from a place of reacting. There's that saying, what is it? There's no rationality in a rational person, or something like that. And when two people are triggered, it's probably the best time to walk away instead of getting into a fighting
it,
match.
yeah.
Because there is some things that you can't take back, and there is some things that
Exactly.
are said and it just stays with you, and then they burn on it even more and more.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, because relationships, I think I said last week, were my biggest struggle
Yeah.
in the past.
What's
And
the percent? 26% here.
yeah, so it says the issues affect about 26
Wow.
of men who commit suicide,
Wow.
which is crazy.
Yeah.
And I think that stems down to a lot tied in. You're married, all of a sudden your marriage has gone to shit, and then you've got kids, and then if the woman goes and puts an AVO on you, it's not an easy process to get your kids back.
No.
We've both been down that. Well, I definitely have. So before you go to family court, you first have to face all the criminal charges or
That's
AVOs that are there. And in the justice system we have today, it's like anywhere from a 6-month to a 9-month wait
Yeah.
to even get seen and heard.
Yeah, that's right.
And then it's the financial stress on top. You got to pay for a lawyer and court fees.
Yeah.
But then a lot of men are still paying the mortgage or the rent.
That's right.
Because they don't want to stop because their kids, they
Exactly.
still need a fucking roof over their
And the
head.
price of living as well.
Well,
it
that's
all,
going
it all
up more.
catches up.
Yeah.
It all plays a part.
Massive part. And yeah, like, was it 56% of marriages end in
Yes,
divorce?
yes,
Which
yeah.
is just fucking crazy.
Yeah. I think it's the highest rate I think it's ever been.
Yeah,
Something like that.
yeah, it is. It is. So yeah, like the way I navigated through those relationships again was using NLP and going down my childhood, finding out what I thought love was and what I experienced love to be,
Yeah.
and then really finding out what I want as love and what I want in a partner. So I had to create boundaries and standards that I'd want.
Yeah.
I kind of didn't have any in
Yeah.
the past. I would get with women that I look at now are huge red flags,
Yeah.
massive red flags. I've dated a stripper, massive red flag. And then she would talk about how toxic her ex was, massive red flag.
Yeah.
I've also dated women that had heaps of these guy friends who she had dated before in the past that made me feel insecure if I said anything, massive red flag.
Yeah, yeah.
Chicks that loved drinking, massive red flag.
Yeah.
Chicks that didn't have good relationships with their father, massive red
Yeah.
flag. All these signs were red flags for me. So when I dealt with my shit in the last toxic relationships, I had to literally write it out. Okay, what did I want in a woman? 20
Yeah.
things that I want in a woman. Standards that I want, and boundaries that I'm going to have.
Yes.
And once I did those things, I landed myself a good one.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
A great one. She's listening.
Yeah.
So I think men as well, they lack standards and boundaries, and they find themselves in the relationships.
That's it. And I think maybe even, or for some people out there, it could have been even the way they were brought up, what they've
Yeah.
seen through
100%.
through their own eyes as children,
Yeah.
you know, and that they could bring that in their everyday life as, you know, as they become young adults, you know, they see what they see, and then they subconsciously sort of bring it into their own relationship.
Yeah.
You know?
Because we learn from our parents, or we learn from the people that are around us the most. So if your parents had a toxic relationship, then you only know that. You've only experienced that.
Yes.
So if you, like, love means something different to everyone, because
Yeah.
we've only experienced love in the certain ways of it experienced. So a child that's brought up in a healthy mother and father household, that child is way more likely to be in a happier marriage than somebody that's been brought up in a toxic household. Way more likely.
Yeah.
So that's why I like to think of it now. Like, it's not just about you anymore either. When you go to pick these relationships, or when you go into decide to choose a woman in marriage and have kids with her,
Yeah.
you got to think about the kids.
Yeah, that's, for sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because like, I've only ever been a part-time dad now, and my son just turned 12, and we broke up when he was 1.5. So I'm really excited to be a full-time dad.
Yeah.
I think I'd be fucking great at it.
Yeah.
You know, and now that I have a partner that I can settle down with, and
Yeah.
look for a mad future where we don't argue, we respect each other.
That's right.
She appreciates me, and I appreciate her. I'm like really, really excited to
Exactly.
be a full-time
To see
dad.
what the future holds.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, that's it. Exactly.
100%.
Yeah, I love that.
So as well, like with relationships, I think that's where men need to talk more
Yeah. Yeah.
and learn to communicate effectively.
Absolutely.
I work in construction still, as a scaffolder rigger, so you can probably imagine the kind of men that
Absolutely.
I deal with, and the partners that they're with, and,
Yeah.
and some of the stuff they say about their partners, it's fucking it just mind blows me. It's like, why are you with them then?
Yeah.
They're like, oh, because I got a kid to her.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
100%.
it's like, fuck, what's that kid experiencing?
Yeah, that's right.
So that's massive, man.
Yeah.
And then, like, I think as well, once the men go down that route of family court and dealing with, AVOs, and it's not hard to get a fucking AVO these days.
No, it's quite easy.
It's very fucking easy. It just takes one person to walk into the police station and say, I felt threatened, or he harassed me, or whatever. And the police have to give it that AVO.
Yeah.
They have to. There's been too many fucking crazy guys killing their ex-partners.
Yeah.
And there has been women killing men too. However, that's the only way I think the police can protect themselves is by doing that.
Putting it into place straight away.
Yeah. However,
which you understand, but
you understand it. However, I think there's so much more room for improvement.
There is,
and it's very easy to get angry at as well. But you have to stay calm in those situations. Fuck, man, like I could speak about this.
I know,
fucking all day.
It'll have to be a whole episode.
Yeah. So, brother, if you are going through something like in relationships where you are dealing with AVOs, family court, I feel you. Hang in there. Please reach out.
Yes, reach out.
Fucking,
please.
We understand. Please reach out. I'm more than happy to listen to your story for fucking hours if it makes you feel better, man. Like I'm still, like it's been almost 2 years since I've been out of that relationship, right? And I got this is a pretty funny story. I can laugh about it now, but if it was 2 years ago, I'd be fuming. I got a mail by Spur, which is Queensland debt collection for fucking fines and shit. Bro, I got a massive fine in there. It was like parking tickets, and then there was a phone on the phone, and then the speeding one.
Yeah,
And I was
okay.
like, oh, I'm pretty smart on the phone. Like, I'm pretty good. Send me the photos through. My ex, bro,
Turn it
my
up.
ex has fucking signed a stat deck saying
Oh,
it
wow.
was me driving her car and on the phone. Two of them.
Oh, no.
On the phone and a speeding one, two of them. When I looked at the photo, it's
Wow.
quite clearly it's her car and her in the car.
Yeah.
But signed a stat deck and sent it to me.
Sent it to you.
And the reason it took so long to
Jeez.
get to me was because she had my old address where she knew I didn't live.
Yeah.
And it got sent to there and then sent back. And then they got a hold of me, my number and stuff. So I had to sign stat decks back to Queensland saying, no,
Oh, no,
you
no,
be
yeah, this is
you be sending these two back. That's not fucking me. What are you playing
Wow.
at? This is fraud. And I was like, I said to the babe, like, holy fuck.
Jeez, yeah.
And she's
What
like,
is going
what
on?
a fucking psycho.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I attracted that.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, that's my fault. Yeah, I've got to take responsibility.
Hopefully it's left there now.
Yeah. Oh, man. But yeah, if you are struggling in relationships, please fucking reach out to someone. Talk to a mate. And if your mate is hard to talk to, reach out to someone else. Fuck man, my inbox is always open. Blake's is always open.
Yep, reach out.
And we teach this in the Lions Den Brotherhood, which will be a link in the description. We teach this in there, and in that brotherhood, there's so much information for you to become a much better man. Now, number 3, definitely I've felt this is financial stress.
Absolutely. Yeah, I felt this as well.
Yeah, I've had $0 in my account multiple times, especially when I was younger. Even doing FIFO, where I was getting over $2,500 a week, I'd go back to work broke.
Yeah.
Gambling, alcohol,
Yeah.
drugs,
Yeah.
you name it. I didn't have any financial intelligence, I guess you could say,
Yeah.
in the past. I didn't respect money.
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah,
I
no.
used to just pretty
get
much
that.
flush it down the toilet.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, like, how have you handled financial stress in the past?
Yeah, so just last year, as my court case finished up, I had a good support network with my mates who, as soon as that happened, he said, obviously with the AVO in the place, he goes, look, man, don't even stress it. Grab your stuff and come to my place. You can live there. So I lived there for 6 months. And towards the end, when it was all over, with the court case and everything like that, I started to get no work, and I was paying off the lawyer fees and everything like that, and everything was starting to catch up on me. And so what I had to do was I had to swallow my pride. I had to call me mum. Said, Mum, I've got no other choice, but I have to move back in. Is that all right? She's like, Mum, like she'll look after me, of course. Come back, yeah,
Yeah.
sweet. But it's just that those thoughts that creep in through financial stress is like, fuck, I'm not good. I'm not going to be good enough. I've got my children to look after. Like, what sort of example am I setting for them?
You feel less of a man too.
That's right, yeah. And that's why I was coming back to swallowing my pride. I'm like, but you know what? I'm happy I've done it because it took that step. But, it's just, I think that maybe something that a lot of men have to deal with.
Yeah, and you said like swallowing your pride, man. That thing can choke you up bad.
Yeah.
Especially like I did NLP and then moved my whole apartment up to Queensland to move in with my girlfriend at the time. Obviously didn't work out, and then had to move back with my dad and his wife, who I didn't really get along with at the start.
Yeah.
So moved back there, and I was just an emotional wreck. It's like I had my whole apartment. I had everything I needed. I had my own space. I fucking gave all that up to go up there and fall in love, I guess you could say. Didn't work out, and now I'm starting again from scratch. I think I came back with fucking, a couple of bags of clothes. So I lost everything. And then it was just that whole starting again thing and just swallowing that pride. And yeah, man, like that hits deep.
It does, yeah.
Which is why I really push now on people in the brotherhood and people that I see. It's like, have you got a side hustle?
Yeah.
What else are you doing?
That's right.
Like it's all good. You got a job, fucking unreal.
Yeah.
But the way of inflation's going and the cost of fucking living's going.
Yeah. Yeah, I have to agree. You're going to have that backup.
Yeah. Sometimes just your wages just isn't good enough.
No.
And I feel like if you're constantly just waiting for your wages to come through, unless you're earning massive amounts of money, a lot of men live week to week. you're just constantly going to be working until the day you die.
Exactly.
So even if like, however old you are, even if you start a side hustle now that, makes you $100, $200, $300 a week, you can gradually grow it more and more and more until eventually, well, hopingly that it can replace your income.
Yeah, that's right.
We're in 2025, fucking AI, the internet's massive, digital products, like it's easy now to make money online than it ever was before.
Yeah, yeah.
Ever was before. And then starting your own business is another thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, wherever you are financially right now, if you feel like you need to do better or you could do better, start looking at side hustles. Start looking at different ventures
absolutely.
that can make
different
you
avenues,
more money.
and
100%.
and something that you will enjoy doing, because that way it doesn't feel like work.
Yeah, 100%. If you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life.
That's it. That's the same.
It's amazing,
Yeah.
And that's why I started the Brotherhood and being a mindset coach, just because if I can change my fucking ways, holy fuck, I can help other men do that.
Absolutely.
And that is fucking amazing. And I love doing it. And I'm fucking great at it.
Yes, that's it. Yes, sir.
And number 4 for things that men struggle with, which leads to suicide, is substance abuse.
Yeah, substance abuse. Yeah, well, I had a problem with this when I was younger. Maybe still do. No, no. I can remember I won a fight up in Queensland, and then after the fight, flew straight to Melbourne to see my best mate. I got paid 12 grand for the fight, and I come home with $800 on Sunday.
Fuck.
Yeah, and that was when I don't think I've ever been kicked in the guts. Well, my own fault. But having those lows, I was just like, fuck, something's got to change here, because I can't keep doing this with my money, and that was just one of those, that was just from substance abuse, like just drinking and then just partying all weekend because of the high I got, which is the wrong way to do it. I'm looking back now, but I was a bit younger, like early 20s, but still, if I could go back and say one thing, it'd be like, smarten up,
100%. Because you're not just buying drinks for yourself, you're buying drinks for everyone.
Everybody.
Everyone. Yeah, I'll get you one. I'll get you one. And they all take advantage of that shit too.
Oh, that's it. And I think
everyone loves a free shot.
Back then as well, my thing was like, I'm the fucking man. Yeah, that's sweet.
Doing the old Conor McGregor.
Yeah, you don't have that much money, man. Calm down.
20 G's, baby.
Yeah, that's right. It wasn't even that.
Fuck,
I can look back now and laugh, but that plane ride home was dark, I tell you that.
Fuck. And that decision that you made would have brought on number 1, which was mental health disorders. That would have brought on the depression, the
anxiety,
guilt,
everything.
The shame, all of it. Fucking hell. And then the financial stress as well.
Yeah, that's right.
You just fucking knock this guy out and he gets paid.
I was like, can't blame anyone but yourself, buddy.
Yeah. Fuck. Isn't it good that we can laugh about it now?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Exactly. Now I can.
Yeah, substance abuse for me. Massive one was alcohol.
Yeah.
Most of my fights I'd been into were alcohol induced.
Yeah.
A lot of my bad decisions, alcohol induced.
Yeah.
Dabbed into cocaine for about a year or two as well.
Yeah.
That shit drains your bank account, but I was hanging out with people that dealt it, so it was always fucking,
it was always there.
Always there.
Yeah.
Just that's why it's careful who you surround yourself with.
Yeah.
If you surround yourself with those kind of people, you're going to be in that kind of thing. So,
that's right.
But coming from I'm English background, fucking used to just love to drink.
Yeah.
And I got the liver for it too.
That's it. Yeah.
But yeah, any chance I'd get beer. Especially after a 10-hour, 12-hour day.
Yeah.
On the way home, get a 6-pack, drink beer.
That's right. And I think it's the norm, with Australian culture as well. A lot of guys, they start work and then, I think I touched on it last week, we'll go in between going from work to home, stopping for the pub for a beer.
Today's 27th, so yesterday was Australia Day. Yeah. How many people are fucking hungover today?
That's it, yeah, exactly.
I know a few years ago it was me.
Yeah, that's right.
I was probably only getting home when the sun came up.
Yeah, no, right. That's right.
Some people don't realise is alcohol is a depressant.
Yeah.
So even though you feel good when you're fucking on it, the next day, like for me, I was fucking don't talk to me.
Yeah, that's it.
Put the shades up, turn the TV on, don't fucking talk to me. And then that would take me 2-3 days.
That's right.
I found as I got older, the worse it got.
Yeah, and then half your week's gone. And then you're saying to yourself, well, fuck, like, what's the point?
Yeah. But then what happens? You get on the piss on the weekend. You start feeling good by Wednesday, Thursday. Friday comes along. You get on the piss
That's
again.
right.
It's
Yeah.
just a fucking roller coaster.
That's it.
Every week.
Well, it's like I feel like it starts to become a routine after a while because you know what it's expected with your bosses or whoever you work with. You finish your
Yeah.
day, and then you're like, oh, pardon me, like yeah, it was Friday, why
Yeah,
not?
yeah.
You know, and unfortunately, it has a bad effect on your life.
Yeah. Look, if you don't have a problem with alcohol, then by all means, enjoy it. Enjoy
That's
a couple of beers.
Yeah.
However, if you're finding that alcohol is becoming a problem,
Yeah.
you need to fucking wool up on that. You
100%.
need to stop.
Yeah.
A massive one for me was I got my head kicked in by 5 security guards in Newcastle here.
Yeah.
I won't mention any pubs or anything. And they did a number on me. I had like 13 fractures around my eye socket, broken nose.
Yeah.
Did a massive number on me. I don't really remember much. It was on the October long weekend
Yeah.
when daylight savings comes over. I don't remember much really because I've got my head kicked in. But what happened on the lead up to that, I still can't remember. I still don't know.
Yeah.
There was CCT footage of it.
Yeah.
And I've gotten kicked out for being intoxicated. So again, if I wasn't intoxicated, none of this would have happened.
That's right. Yeah.
So I got kicked out for being intoxicated, and me being me, I've tried to, weasel my way back in.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, the security guard didn't like it and fucking hit me.
Yeah.
And then me being a smart ass, I was laughing at him. Well, this is on the CCT footage. I'm laughing at him because he's hit me. And the other guys hit me. I've hit the ground. And then next thing you know, I'm just getting booted.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Damn.
seeing the CCT footage of that really fucking woke me
They've
up
been
a
hard
bit.
to watch as well.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
hard because I was just in a ball, just
Getting
crawling
belted,
up, getting belted, and then one big guy comes in, jumps, lands on my head, and then that's when my arms just went like that.
Yeah. Shit.
And people have died from one punch.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I was very, very lucky on that. But after that, I was like, all right, alcohol shit. I don't like it. I can't remember stuff, like blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So because I was still mentally unstable, I needed another coping mechanism.
Yeah.
And I found weed.
Yeah.
And weed, I thought was doing me wonders.
Yeah.
Because if I was to go to the doctors and tell them how I think and how I operate, they would probably say I have ADHD.
Yeah.
However, what people don't realise is when you can control the ADHD, it's like a superpower,
It
like
is.
the bipolar, man.
100%. Yeah.
It's a
Once you
fucking
learn how to
superpower.
control it,
Yeah.
it's sweet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Watch this.
Yeah, 100%. Because you can focus on things you
Yeah.
actually enjoy, and when you can do that, big things
That's
can
right.
happen. But then, because I was in a stressful situation in my mind, the weed would calm me down, and I wouldn't be thinking about all these different things.
Yeah.
So it became a massive coping mechanism.
Yeah.
And
You
then
removed one, then you got another
yeah,
one.
100%, 100%. And then because you get told it's a plant and it's a medicine and it's all this kind of stuff. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. Well, it isn't. But when you're doing it every single fucking day in, day out, week after week, year after year, it does become a problem.
Yeah.
It affects you in so many different ways. Especially in the bedroom, your procrastination, your energy levels. It's damaging your lungs.
Yeah.
It does all that.
Your whole life.
Yeah.
And you're not even second guessing yourself when that's happening. You're like, oh no.
Yeah.
Like when you're doing it, you're like, no, it's sweet, it's all good.
Yeah.
And until all of a sudden one day, bang, you're like, oh maybe you know what, maybe it is.
Yeah. And weed was actually my hardest drug to get off.
Yeah.
My hardest. Because when you stop smoking weed, because I was smoking it every day, when I stopped smoking weed, I can't sleep.
Yeah.
You can't sleep.
Yeah.
And then to beat that, you go, I'll just have one,
Yeah.
just so I can get to sleep. And then the next day, you just keep doing that.
Yeah.
So that was my hardest. And then the night sweats come.
Yes.
Then you don't get hungry. So for me, weed was my hardest substance to get off.
Yeah. That makes sense. I've got a few mates who have grown up and so they're the same thing. And I thought, who was the biggest one? Who would smoke it every day, and then all of a sudden one day, who I thought he was never going to do it, he stopped cold turkey one day, and he hasn't done it since.
Yeah, fuck
So
yeah.
I was like, fuck, I'm so proud of you.
Yeah.
Man. I was like, I thought you were the one who would never. But he did
good.
it, you know what? And he's got a beautiful family now, and I think he probably owed it to himself, I think.
Yeah.
He's done a great job.
Yeah, what a legend. And I think that's the best way too, is cold turkey.
Yeah.
You have to go through those roller coasters of emotions that come with it. Because
Yeah.
you chose to do it, so you choose not to do it and
Yeah.
just write it out. It doesn't last that long. I think after a week I was sweet.
Yeah, exactly.
And it was just a rough week.
just get through that
Yeah,
week. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
You know, and there's people out there that probably have been addicted to other drugs. I haven't really tapped into anything harder than that. I've dapped into like, you know, gas and MDMA and
Yeah.
back when I was early 20s when
Yeah.
it was kind of hot back then. But
That's right.
I never had a problem with that. And it's the same with cocaine. I never really had a problem with it.
Yeah.
It was just always around.
Yeah, that's it.
And it was
yeah.
just a drug of
It
choice
was just there. Yeah,
back
that's
then.
it.
But I haven't touched any of that shit in fucking years.
Yeah.
And me and you were both on a alcohol sober train
That's
this year.
it.
So
We are definitely.
yeah, fucking smashing. I haven't even felt like a drink. Have you?
No, I haven't. No, yeah, I've been a few weeks in now, and I'm feeling really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
I don't really ever think about it until it's like I don't know. I guess I got something coming up, but I'm usually
Yeah.
alright. Yeah.
Even yesterday, I was like, I
Yeah.
haven't felt like it. If anything, I've felt like chocolate.
Yeah.
Bro,
Yeah, that's it.
chocolate.
That was me last night
Man,
in bed.
last night I was like, oh, I really want some chocolate. I'm trying to, those demons, man. Just have one chocolate. Just have one chocolate. It's okay.
They're the chocolate demons.
Yeah, and it's chocolate demons. Willy Wonka and the fucking Oompa Loompas are in the fucking head. Oompa, doompa. Shut the fuck up, you orange kid.
Oh my god, that's so good.
Because I haven't had any chocolate this year yet.
Yeah.
yeah.
That's good, man.
That's what I mean.
I'll pay that.
Yeah, I haven't had any processed sugar this year yet.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah, last night was my biggest struggle. I was like, oh, I just have one. But the missus has these like natural sugar-free milk lab, I think they're called.
Yeah, okay.
They're like fucking $20 for a box. I had one of those, and it's like it's not processed. But then I'm like, here you go, demon. Here's your little negotiation.
Just to shut it up.
Yeah. But health lab. Oh, thanks, babe. Health lab. And then number 5.
Social isolation.
Yeah. So social isolation and what does that say? Stigma of cultural stigma.
Yeah, okay.
So what that means is it's that toughen up, be a man
Yes.
stigma.
Yeah.
And the reason that is so hard on mental health is because men feel like it's weak to speak.
Yes.
It's weak to reach out.
Yep.
When we all know it's definitely not.
Yeah.
So this one here, how did that affect you at all? Being socially isolated or the stigma of, you know, I'm going to be a tough man and not speak?
When I was younger, like I said, like growing up with, you know, my old man, God bless him, is like gave me everything. He's the man. But you know, me and my brother grew up with him. He was like, you know, if you're not bleeding, it don't hurt.
Yeah.
You know, toughen up.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the only sort of, you know, tough man thing that I could sort of experience. And sometimes it still does pop up in my mind when, you know, I probably do need some help or I need to reach out to someone where like that little voice there was like come on, like grow up, like be a man.
Yeah.
You know, which is, you know, it's not good. It's toxic for myself. And I know that, but that just stems back from my childhood.
Yeah.
And and social isolation would probably only be like, I guess when I get off the piss, and then I'd be just isolate myself.
Yeah.
And that comes from like being depressed, I guess, as well.
Yeah, 100%. The stigma for me was massive, especially earlier on, like mid-20s. Like I had anger issues, man. And I think I spoke about it last week. I thought anger was how you get respect.
Yeah.
And the stigma around, you know, I can't show any fucking sadness. I can't show any weakness because
Exactly.
people are going to think I'm weak.
Yeah.
And we used to get told when we were kids, you know, boys don't cry, toughen up.
That's
You know,
right.
you'll be
Spot
right, get
on.
up, keep going. Which, you know, there's some, you know, get up, keep going is a positive thing. But when you're that age, you're not taught what's the positive thing. You just think, oh, boys don't cry.
Yeah,
boys
you're being
don't cry.
programmed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're just being programmed. And our parents are doing the best they can with the resources they had.
Yeah.
Because remember, they had parents
Exactly.
and they had parents.
That's
and
right.
Everyone's been programmed in their own little ways. But this, the stigma around mental health, it's, look, man, if you're struggling with mental health and you know you're struggling and you don't reach out for help, that for me is when you're being weak.
Yes, absolutely.
That is
Yeah.
when you're being weak, because you're not taking control of your own actions and your own life. That is where I think men are being weak. However, when you're a man and you come up and say, "Hey, bro, I'm fucking really struggling. Do you mind giving me an ear so I can just fucking have a vent?" That is strength to me.
That's strength and courage.
Yeah,
100%.
massive amounts
Yeah.
of courage, because you're showing that you actually care about yourself and your family. You're trying to do better, which is
That's
fucking
it.
strength.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you are going through shit, like reach out to someone. I'm kind of like massive on not going to your partner, your missus, and being all vulnerable and spitting out all your problems to your partner. There's reasons for that. Some of the reasons are, your job as a man is to provide emotional support for your partner.
Yes.
Women are a lot more emotional than men. So when you are constantly whinging to your partner or being vulnerable in front of your partner, having breakdowns in front of your partner, you're just showing her that you're not strong enough to handle her shit. And what that will lead to is resentment and disrespect
Yes.
down the
Spot
line.
on. Yeah.
So it's really important that you have a strong brotherhood, or a strong friend, a male friend that you can bounce off and be vulnerable to.
Have that network there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%, which is why community is massive. So wherever you are, like, find a community. Like, you've got your gym and the
Yeah,
brothers at the gym.
that's it.
Now you've
Yeah.
got the brotherhood,
Yeah.
and you've got me, and I'm
right.
sure you have other mates. So you've got all this community around you where
it.
you can bounce off and
Yeah.
get advice, or talk about whatever's going on in your life, which is massively important. For men that don't have that, you need to go fucking find that.
Yeah, that's it. And that's why, and a big reason why we're doing this is for you to reach out to us.
Yeah.
If needed.
100%. And there's so much out there. Like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of online groups as well. Look up in your area. There's probably men's circles or something there. If there's not one, create one.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah, so that's massive. Because social isolation was a big one for me too. Especially when I was smoking weed, I didn't want to socialize with anyone.
That's it.
I
Yeah.
was happy just to fucking get Uber Eats, smoke weed, and watch TV.
Sit by yourself.
Sit by myself.
Yeah, that's it.
And then that would just fucking build up and build up and build up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, social isolation was is a big one for men, committing suicide. And yeah, man, mental health is just something that keeps on growing.
Scary.
It is scary, especially when you've experienced it yourself.
Yeah.
You kind of feel where other men are at, and how they can go. And I know when I was going through mine, it felt like I had no one or nothing to look forward to. But that was just a belief I was creating in my own mind.
You're creating that own belief. Yeah. Which is hard, And that's where it stems out to the hardest part, is like you just touched on, was trying to get that courage and belief in yourself that you can reach out, and no one is going to judge you. It's actually a sign of strength.
Yeah.
So reach out to someone if you are struggling, and you'll benefit yourself 100-fold over, and you'll never regret it again.
Yeah, 100%, man. Well said. Well, that was a good episode, bro.
Yes.
I love these topics. They have to be shared and have to be spoken about. I hope you guys got some really good value from that. If you're experiencing one of or all of them or some of these things, again, reach out. I don't know how many times I need to say reach out, but I'm going to say it one more time. Reach out.
That's it.
There will be links in the description. You're not alone, even though you think you're alone. Whatever beliefs you're creating in your mind that you're alone, you're never alone. There's always a brother out there that's either been through, going through, or have been through what you're going through. I'm very well trained in handling this. Blake is trained in handling it. Blake is also a fucking very strong man, physically and mentally. I've worked with him for the last few months now.
Thanks, mate.
And bro, just reach out to us.
Yeah, reach out, please.
Please.
Yep.
So yeah, Untold Story of Men podcast episode 2 done.
Let's go.
Next episode we should have a guest on, I believe.
Yes, we will.
I've got a couple booked in to come and tell their stories, because you're probably sick of looking at our beautiful faces and hearing our beautiful voices.
That's right. You'll have a new one on next week.
Yeah. So this is just the start of something big. We really are pushing towards this mental health and trying to bring some numbers down and we want to grow an awesome community and audience also. So thank you for watching. Don't forget, like, subscribe, comment. Comment in the things about your experiences. If you resonate, we can write back and build a relationship with you guys as well. And yeah, I look forward to hearing more and some feedback from you guys. Thank you for watching.
You.